right here. At home. Protect your out. We put the work in. Let's finish. Come on, man. Let's do this. Family, I'm doing 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
You see, we dream chase, cause that's all we was given to start with. Then we realized the dream was obtainable. Now look at us.
What's going on? Welcome back to the Main Thing Podcast Presents. I'm your man, Big Huss, the one you trust, bringing you all your Philadelphia Eagles latest. Look, today we're diving head first into what quietly becomes one of the most pivotal offseason of the Nick Sirianni era. The Philadelphia Eagles are once again hunting for answers at the offensive coordinator position after firing or effectively demoting Kevin Patullo, while silently absorbing a gut punch on the defensive side of the ball. Look, coordinator turnovers, missed targets, rising assistants leaving the building. This isn't just the offseason of noise. This roster and the identity defining stuff, man, we got to get back to it. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of it all, please make sure that you are liking, comment, and most of all, you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss what me and Mr. Owens drop these videos on y'all. The Eagles are still without an offensive coordinator, and that alone should raise some eyebrows, right? The Kevin Patullo idea and all that's out the way. Whether firing or demoting, Philadelphia has now moved through multiple waves of candidates, right? Many of who have already taken jobs elsewhere, most notably Zach Robinson, the Eagles' first in-person interview. He's headed to Tampa Bay. A clear sign that didn't materialize, right? So where does that leave the Birds, right? We got to find the right fit. And one of the biggest names that is still floating around, which I didn't think it would still be at this point, Brian Daboll. Earlier this week, the Athletic reported that Brian Daboll is expected to become Tennessee Titans OC if he doesn't land the Buffalo Bills head coaching job. Now, NFL insider Jeremy Fowler threw a little cold water on that idea about Daboll to Philly, saying it's not completely dead. Saying that, I'm not totally convinced former Giants head coach Brian Daboll is off the table, though there's not much buzz there at the moment. Jeremy Fowler, ESPN, right? There's even a piece over at Music City Miracles asking a very real question. How long can the Titans afford to wait on Daboll? The Tennessee Titans, look, they're growing impatient. If Daboll doesn't get the Bills job and if the Eagles are still scrambling, suddenly a door cracks open. Now, is it likely? Probably not. But is it impossible? Also, no. And at this stage, the Eagles can't afford to ignore any door that isn't locked shut. Now, let's talk about the most interesting name in the search now. On Thursday, the Eagles requested permission to interview Chicago's Bears offensive coordinator, Declan Doyle. Hope I'm saying your first name right. Now, on Friday, the permission was granted. That matters because Chicago didn't block the request. According to Jeremy Fowler again, Chicago's offensive coordinator, Declan Doyle, is a name to watch. Some see him as head coach material. This job couldn't be a springboard if the new play caller improves Jalen Hurts' performance. Look, and you've seen that here in Philadelphia a lot, where OCs come in, they have the success, whether we're going to Super Bowls or NFC championships or whatever the case may be, but they end up landing head coaching jobs elsewhere. Jonathan Gannon, Kellen Moore, Doug Peterson, right? Frank Wright. It's just, you come here to Philly, you have success. More than likely, you're going to get a big job somewhere else. Now, it's technically a lateral move in title, right? Let's be honest. Doyle wasn't not the play caller in Chicago. Ben Johnson was. But this would be a real promotion. This would be a really nice situation for Doyle, right? All the pieces are here. You just have to come in with the right scheme, the right mindset, and the right motivational tools to get the players going. And this offense could be unstoppable, right? All pros all over it, Hall of Famers littered throughout. So it's still a very, very sweet landing spot for any OC. Now, why does Doyle make sense? Doyle is only 29 years old, the youngest OC in the league last season, and comes from the Sean Payton coaching tree. We all know the success that Sean Payton has had when he was down with the Saints and Drew Brees, winning the Super Bowl, now with the Denver Broncos, playing phenomenal ball, right? And here's where it gets kind of interesting. The Bears offense in 2025, 6th in total yards, so top 10 in total yards, 3rd in total rushing yards. That's pretty good. You know, Philly, we want to run that pill. Dramatically more creative with the running back usage, which me and Mr. Owens, I'm sure Eagles fans have been clamoring for. Yes, Barkley, he gets a ton of touches, but let's get creative on how we get these daggum elite players the pill, whether it be in space, drawn it up, whatever the case may be. We need more creativity in this offense. And then they led the NFL in turnover differential. That means that the offense wasn't turning the ball over a lot and the defense was taking it away. That's what you want, right? Now, the last part, Nick Sirianni, he's going to love that. Any head coach would. And if you want brutal reminder of how effective this offense can be, look no further than the Bears game against Philadelphia, which as Philadelphia fans, we kind of want to erase it out our memory. But for this case, think back to it. Shakeup piled up 281 rushing yards on the Philadelphia defense, and we all know how elite this Philly defense was last season, right? With 154 receiving yards against a Vic Fangio, the Don defense that have been playing lights out. Now, that's not nothing. And yes, Doyle is a bit inexperienced, but the Eagles aren't in a position where mere competence should be the goal anymore, if that makes sense. That ship has sailed in 2025. If the offense is going to rebuild, retool, especially with the uncertainty around player personnel, upside matters, which I agree with. Now, another interview that quietly did happen was Bobby Slowick. On Friday morning, Adam Schefter confirmed the Eagles officially interviewed the Miami Dolphins senior pass game coordinator for the OC job, and Slowick's resume is complicated. Let's dive into it a little bit here, right? Now, Slowick is a longtime Kyle Shanahan protege, overlapping with Shanahan for 9 seasons in San Francisco. That's not necessarily a bad thing. He left that tree in 2023 to become DeMeco Ryans' play-calling OC in Houston and immediately delivered results. In 2023, the Texans jumped from 30th to 12th in yards. That's a massive jump. They went from 31st to 13th in points. That's another massive jump, right? Rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud at the time generated MVP buzz. His rookie season, C.J. Stroud was lights out. Right? That season made Slowick one of the prime candidates for a head coaching position, right? But in 2024, choosing to go back and do it all over again, trying to kind of bonify his resume, it didn't quite work out that well. Right, things cooled down. Texans fell to 22nd in yards, 19th in points. And Stroud hit a sophomore slump. Like most quarterbacks who come in the rookie season, if you have a dog rookie season, more than likely you're going to hit a sophomore slump. Now, after a wild card loss to KC, Slowick was fired. He resurfaced in Miami under Mike McDaniel, right? Another OC that at one point we wanted in Philadelphia. But the Dolphins' passing offense, it cratered as Tua Tagovailoa had the worst season of his career, was benched. Now, the Miami situation, you kind of got to take with a grain of salt. It was a lot of things happening down there, right? But why should the Eagles be interested? Simple. Once again, upside. Slowick has shown he can elevate an offense, even if the floor hasn't always been stable, which we need. There's been some dramatics here, right? A little bit of up and down on the opposite side of the ball. Slowick has shown that he could be a competent OC. Especially, he comes from the coaching tree. He should have the knowledge. Now, sophomore slumps, like I said, down there with the Texans, bound to happen. The Miami situation, Tua was often hurt. The Miami offense was often banged up and battered, right? So it was really playing with a lot of backup personnel out there. So you kind of got to take that one with a grain of salt. Now, while the Eagles are trying to fix the offense, look, the defense just took a hit. Christian Parker, if you haven't heard, my man's out the door. He's gone. Not for good reason for him, bad reason for us. But according to Tom Pelissaro, the Eagles defensive back coach and pass game coordinator is joining the Dallas Cowgirls as their new defensive coordinator. Losing Parker was probably inevitable at some point. Man, he's proven that he can coach, getting the best out of his players while he was out there at Denver and out with Philadelphia. The players love him, but losing him to Dallas, that stings. And even Cooper DeJean, he came out singing high praise for Christian Parker, saying that he wouldn't be the player that he is today without CP. So look, congrats to CP. You are definitely well deserved of the position and all the success that you've been having over the years. No one deserves it more. Damn, the Cowboys though, man, that one hurts a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. Now Parker's is just 34 years old, but his track record once again is outstanding. Helped develop PS2, Patrick Surtain II in Denver, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and the All Pros. The Eagles defense became elite after pairing Parker with Vic Fangio in 2024. Like I said, it's just it was a match made in heaven. The wisdom and just the knowledge of the game that he has passed on to the players, you can see it by the play on the field and on that back end. Now Dallas is betting big on youth, and if Parker brings even a fraction of what he worked with in Philly, the Cowboys could flip the script defensively. Right? Cowboys are known for drafting good players, whether they're risky players at the time or not. You know, they have a good track record of drafting well. And now Philadelphia now has to decide internal promotion here, external hire, maybe both. This is another coaching position where you want to hit it on the head because we have some young dogs in that room. And you want to make sure they're still getting the proper tutelage as they come along, entering their primes in their young careers. You don't want to just put anybody in that room who's telling them anything. And now you go from Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell playing at an all-pro level, then they go into maybe their little slump and there's a drop-off, right? So you want to make sure that whoever you bring in fits and can continue to get the best out of your young talent. Now, despite all the churnings, there are some positives. The Don Vic Fangio, once again, a finalist for AP of NFL Assistant Coach of the Year. Shout out to him. In 2025, the Eagles defense ranked 4th in weighted DVOA. That is great. Top 10 in points allowed, EPA per play, and success rate. That's phenomenal, right? All the while ranking 30th in defensive cash spending. So we're having all the success on the defensive side of the ball without really having to throw any big cash down on some of this young talent for right now. Eventually we will, but for right now, it's working out in our favor. That's why we're able to have one of the most expensive offenses in the league. Because the defensive players, they're getting a little underpaid right now, and they're overperforming. Now, that's elite coaching from Fangio on that unit, right? Taking young talent and molding it into playing elite NFL football, right? And on the field, Jahad Campbell earned a spot on the PFWA All-Rookie team after tallying in 76 tackles on the season, 11 quarterback pressures, a forced fumble, a game-sealing red zone interception versus Tampa Bay, right? He had an outstanding rookie season. And honestly, if he had played more, because we have to remember that Nakobe Dean didn't play like the first several games of the season, then we inserted him and Jahad Campbell's role kind of lessened. But if there was no Nakobe, I believe that Jahad Campbell probably would have been up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's just he was playing at that kind of level. I mean, we really have ourselves in one, man. So shout out to the Don Vic Fangio. Shout out to Jahad Campbell. Yeah, I mean, for getting the praise that they deserve, putting in that hard work and reaping the rewards. Although we didn't get the Super Bowl, that would have been the ultimate reward, but still, well-deserved respect. Here's where the Eagles stand. Still searching for an offensive coordinator. And going off last season, you want to make sure that you hit on this. Or it'll be just another wasted year during our era, during our prime era, our Super Bowl era, right? You want to really find the right fit here. Watching talented assistants walk out the door, we're anchored by one of the best defensive minds in football and young talent that's already delivering, right? The Eagles have done well drafting and bringing in young talent who fits the scene, fits the culture, and it's been proven. Now, this offseason isn't about tweaks, right? It's about direction. We need clear direction. And the next coordinator hire may define the next phase of the Sirianni era, right? And that's kind of where we're at right now. If the Sirianni comes in with another OC plunder, Sirianni may very well find himself on the hot seat, even with all the success that he's had during his first 5 seasons here. So let's just make sure that Philadelphia, which I'm sure they will, is going about it the right way and bringing in the right minds to get the best out of this young talent once again. Now, look, more videos to come. You know, me and Mr. Owens got you. We're going to continue to drop these videos on y'all, giving y'all the latest news surrounding our birds. Hope that everyone had a great week. Stay warm. It's in the negatives. I'm out here in Detroit right now. It's super cold out here. So make sure that you're bundled up, stand warm, continue to support those birds, continuing to support the channel, the Main Thing Podcast presents. Hey, man, it's always love on this side. Once again, comment, like, but most of all, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the vids. And if you don't know, hey, I go by Big Hus. And once again, this is the Main Thing Podcast, where we keep the main thing the main thing. Now look, this flag will slide till we die. Always love them birds. Love y'all. Until next time. Be out.
It was I was gonna make a lot of money doing what I wanted to do. I went after it, and it was a struggle to achieve it. But you know what? I caught that bitch. Dream chasing.